yeah, so let's go in that game 4.
Yeah,
Dutch against
Dutch.
Sue on Florida.
I don't actually know how this plays out, I'll be honest, because normally you'd see, especially in the newer championships, you saw a lot of French Sue. But French sort of falling out of favour nowadays. So I don't really know how this plays out, if I'm honest.
Well, essentially, Dutch obviously can get much more ego than Sue, but they're also slower, and Sue has very strong units, and yeah, just a lot of them early on. So Dutch is gonna turtle a lot in H2 and in early H3 as well. And then when he gets a solid enough mass, he will try to grab map control slowly. And that is pretty much how it plays out. So usually Sue going for some kind of skirm pike, some IFF, and Dutch doing that, I mean, and Sue just going for some Axe Rider semi or something like that.
Yeah. Also, it's a coin start for Dutch, which is obviously quite nice.
Yeah.
Does this map always spawn like this? It seems like an odd spawn. I thought the TP line spawned underneath the trading the TCs. I might be mistaken.
Sometimes the TP spawn next to the water, and sometimes they spawn like this. So it depends. It's 50-50 basically. And the native post also don't spawn in the same way. Then like sometimes they spawn in the middle, and sometimes they spawn in the back of your base. Anyway, the coin start is indeed really good for Dutch, but at least on this map, Sue should be able to use it if he wants to, because he's got a market. So, for example, he could have taken that treasure and bought 100 wood, which he decided not to do. Instead, he's got just a pirate, actually. He just converted one of the pirates here.
What's better for Sue in the meta nowadays, going for 2 TPs or going for hunting dogs early on if you spawn in Florida? Because obviously both are about 10% boost to your eco early game.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, I need to thank for 2 more donations, actually. One from Sampu and one from Head Killer. Thanks a lot, guys. And yeah, so you were not sure if you should go for hunting dogs or for 2 TPs? That was your question?
Yeah. I don't know which one's better.
Hunting dogs is better. It's usually not better because you have to build the market. When you already have the market, then hunting dogs is cheaper and better. But it kind of depends on your macro. Like you need to have enough coin to buy 100 wood, and also enough coin to get hunting dogs. But if you can, the best is to get hunting dogs plus 1 TP. Like you buy 100 wood, use 50 wood for hunting dogs and 50 wood for a TP, and then you have the kind of the optimal start.
Yeah. Well, Dutch coming in now is going to get a nice 105 coin treasure,
Getting
which obviously is
extremely low HP though.
He does have the envoy here, but the soldiers explorer is going to come in and maybe. So yeah, if he kills the alligator over here, that's going to be quite a large misplay. And soldier,
yeah,
he's going to pick it up himself, isn't he?
Yeah, Sue got this definitely, and that's 100 coin not going to Migo, which is sad. So far, no one has. I mean, only SoldieR has this 105 coin treasure, but nothing else. And I really don't know why Migo is so low HP after taking only 1 treasure. I guess he must have mismicroed because he's extremely low HP, and he might just die to the Sue Explorer.
Migo was he was trying to take this treasure here, the 2 hunting dogs. The 2 dogs. It was sort of in contention between the 2 for a while, as well as he got the converted pirate from Sue was attacking him for a while, so he lost quite a lot of hit points. Villager coming in here from Mingo, which is quite nice to get the Sue off his back.
Yeah, and thanks a lot for another donation from Head Killer, matching Maito's donation and donating $46. So that's really, really nice. Thanks a lot for all this.
Yeah. So yeah, again, half of these donations go towards the prize pool. So from just off the top of my head, these donations which are coming in, it's probably about $600 instead of $500 now, which is nice.
Yeah, definitely really nice. And
And
go ahead.
yeah, SoldieR most likely going to take this pirate again and get 135 coin, and he's going up the slow age of a chief, which I believe the chief is 400 wood. So he's gonna go, obviously gonna FF, I think.
Sorry. All right. So yeah, FF. You mean Dutch is gonna FF?
Dutch obviously is gonna FF, I believe.
He's gonna probably have to semi FF. I don't think. I mean, he's gonna get idled a lot if he goes for a naked FF against Sue. So he's probably gonna have to train some units. But yeah, it will be probably a semi FF. Sue's taking a trading post a little bit late though. Maybe he decided to first spend the wood onto hunting dogs and some TPs. But I don't see a military building either. Okay, now a stable going down
Corral
for
coming
Sue.
down, yeah.
Yeah. And a second bank going down from Dutch, so it means it's gonna go 700 wood, and there we go. Gonna probably drop a barracks from this 700 wood shipment. And another bank, I believe. And he's also got hunting dogs, which is quite nice. You don't usually get it that early, maybe as Dutch, but obviously when you start with the market, you can. In fact, he even got it in H1. I didn't see that, but it's pretty nice as Dutch. He was able to get hunting dogs at 30 seconds, which is really, really nice. And still aging up at a good time, so pretty good.
Yeah, it's coming at the back as you were saying. And what SoldieR got in queue here? He's got Outsiders in queue, so and a forward war hut, sort of a side war hut up here, which he might ship some Outsiders to, or he might be able to pressure with 9 Outsiders, which would be really nice here.
Yeah, he might just indeed ship units inside, although it's gonna take a long time to go up with only 1 veil. So I don't think, even if he ships 4 axes, they will not be able to pop in there. But I think it's for later on when he's gonna be H3 and he wants to pressure, and also just to get map control. I mean, there's no reason not to build a forward war hut in this matchup, really. 5 pikes coming out for Migo, and he's also got a couple dogs from a treasure, so he's got a nice little army here to defend the raid, and Sue will have to go back without really achieving much.
Yeah, and skirmisher in queue, so he's probably suspecting sort of bow riders coming out, which aren't in queue at all. Only another 4 Outsiders, so he's got a massive 9 and 700 gold for SoldieR, so he's more than likely just going to go straight up. Or maybe not. I don't know.
We'll see, I guess. 700 gold for bot players, and I kind of question this 700 gold from Dutch because he's gonna stack a bit of it. Well, it's an okay 700 gold, but he's gonna have too much gold. Although it's not a huge deal. And Sue is gonna try to age, but he made 9 X-Riders, which cost a lot of food. So despite shipping 700 gold, his food count is still a bit low, and Sue will age after quite a bit after Dutch actually, because he made much more units. So that's why.
Well, Sue you might get a house for his troubles, which is quite nice. As obviously Dutch tend to be lower on population early in the game, but these pikemen sort of scaring him off. I mean, he's just going to take the fight, I think, now. Yeah, just taking the fight with skirmishers coming in, which may get caught by the outside as well, which is quite nice.
Yeah, as much as I like taking the fight, I think Dutch got a good trade. I don't think he should have shown his skirms, although he's gonna pop Minutemen, but still, this is not.
He's gonna lose his skirms.
Right, he's gonna lose his skirms, and he has to call Minutemen, which is never something you really want to do if you don't have to. And well, SoldieR is maybe overstaying a little bit here, fighting more. I'm not sure he really wants to fight the Minutemen and the Veils. This is pretty good micro from Migo here, and SoldieR kind of wasting the biggest part of his army here, and also gonna have to go back, and not gonna get the house down. He could have just maybe siege it down and run away, but now he's going in again. And
yeah, what you have to
Yeah.
What you have to remember here is that Soldier is he's losing units which are useful in AoE3 as he ages up. Meanwhile, these pikemen, they're somewhat useful, but they're not the staple units. He won't be making any more of them. He's just going to be making 1,000 wood coming in now, which is interesting.
Yeah. He did lose some skirms, which would be veteran. I mean, they are veteran right now. But yeah, you're right. Like the pikes, it's good to trade the pikes for axe raiders because if Sue had still like 10 axe raiders alive, plus maybe 5 axe raiders, he would train in transition and then get the veterancy. It would be quite a strong timing against Dutch. But yeah, also 1k wood, adding another bank that might be overgreed, really. Like you don't want to boom too much against you. You just want to defend because then you're ahead. But that one bank is gonna be it might be hard for Dutch to deal with the 14 Wakinas now. Although I guess he's all right. I don't know.
Yeah, Dutch can still send the 8 skirmisher card, which would be quite nice in this situation, as well as popping out some skirmishers from barracks. There's Sue doesn't really have a huge amount of axe riders. I don't think he even has a single axe rider left. So he doesn't really need to be worried here. A wall coming down, which is obviously quite defensive for Migo here. But Soldier, at this rate, look at the eco difference here. What can Soldier do except from just wait for the big button, which I think he might do, instead of pushing in?
Well, he has to try to be a bit aggressive just now because he saw the 1k wood and he has shipped now 2 unit shipments in a row. So he has to try to do some damage. But yeah, I'm not sure he can, but he needs to try for sure. But now it's maybe a bit too late because the 8 skirms are on the field and there's enough routers to deal with the dogs probably. And the Dutch skirmishers are just easily superior because they have more range and well, just more range is really big in the skirmisher fight, so they can deal with the Wakinas quite efficiently if you can just hit and run them. Now though,
You might get caught here from the dog soldiers, which would be nice. Although you have to remember the Dutch base, it's basically just tight corners, isn't it? So these dog soldiers might not be able to do as much as they really want to.
yeah, that is a good choke for Dutch for sure. And he still has the upper hand in the skirmisher war. Another donation, $1 from old school RTA. Thanks a lot. And yeah, Sue being pushed back here. I'm not sure Dutch should extend too much. Yeah, he's pulling back now, which I like because he has to be careful. But yeah, this is looking pretty good for Dutch so far. I mean, yeah, there's gonna be the big button, but it's in quite a while. And meanwhile, Dutch is just out gathering so much just because he's got such a much better eco. And I'm not sure Sue will have a strong enough timing eventually to really do much here, especially because he didn't age up with the Bisons. Uh,
Yeah, 1,000 food are coming in from Sue, so he's just going to go for an earlier timing from the dog soldiers, as we all know how strong they are, even from watching the Era versus Sue matchup of the week, which was a couple of weeks ago. You just saw how much that big button timing sort of played into Sue's game, and it's sort of what they're known for, if you understand.
yeah, yeah. But meanwhile, I'm just really concerned about Sue going so heavy on skirms. You kind of want to make skirms against Dutch usually, but you just can't take a skirmisher war with Wakinas. Oh, 5 husks going on top of them?
5 husks coming in, yeah, that's nice. There's not much anti-cav here, only the dog soldiers and a couple of bow riders at the back. They do have cav combat though, you have to remember. I think this is a sort of a bad idea to push in here. Look how many Reuters
Wait.
are in these.
Actually, SoldieR got cav combat and he has like no cav, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a bit sad.
I think he's waiting for the timing, as I was saying, but he's pushing in, and he just lost a load of Wakinas, which may just have lost him the game.
Yeah, he was already in kind of a poor position, but I think now it's getting worse.
Yeah, 28 Wakinas going down. That's really quite bad. You have to remember the Sue economy is slightly undervalued because it doesn't take into account the TPs. So any villagers working with TPs don't account. So it's somewhat closer than it actually seems. But again, he's just losing skirmishers for no reason here. He needs to pull back.
he also had to move out of his base, so he doesn't actually have any TPs working on his villages right now.
And look at this Hussmas coming out here from they're only just colonial age hussars, but there's only there you go, there's a resignation from
Yeah, they should be veteran, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Yeah, Dutch is quite the turtle thief. Dutch doesn't need too much map control, and especially on a map like Florida, where you have a lot of food in your base and a gold mine in the back, you can't afford to sit in base until pretty much 15 minutes or something as Dutch. So, although he did move on this gold mine here, like Migo was in the forward gold mine, which is a little bit risky instead of the back gold mine, but didn't really matter in this game.
Oh yeah, look at the Reuter mass he has comparative to any there's no cavalry at all except from those dog soldiers from SoldieR, and losing those, as I said, 9 cav, which he could have been pretty powerful, incredibly powerful after cav combat came in, would have sort of played a big part in that game, but obviously not.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah. The plan didn't really work out for SoldieR here. I mean, he's got quite poor trade in H2. And then he shipped units, but wasn't really able to do anything with them. And then he just got kind of outscaled, and yeah, that just took a terrible trade there against the 5 house, and that was GG.
yeah, I think he should have waited more so for the big button, as I was saying, especially with cav combat. He's shipping cav combat, and it's only affecting like 5 or 10 units, which doesn't really do much in the situation here. Meanwhile, Dutch is just shipping unit shipments and just pushing forward.
Right. We have another donation from Daniel saying easy for CMC, which means Cuirassier Management Company, aka my team, aka the best team in the EPL. Just saying. So yeah, easy for Migo. That's 2-2, and now we'll have the match point, I guess. I mean, it's not really a match point, right? Because play all 5. What matters in this format is how many games you win. It's not about winning a series, it's about winning games. So either
Is
way,
it 2-2?
it is 2-2,
Like,
yes.
are you sure? I think it's 2-1, isn't it? What games have we had? We've had the India
Well,
game.
Migo has won 2 games. He's won this one, and he's won the German Euro.
Yeah, but has SoldieR won 2 games?
Yeah, he's won India, Germany, and then he's won wait. He's won the Russia, Spain.
Oh, yeah, Russia, Spain. I completely forgot about that. There you go. Yeah. So, yeah, 2-2. So one more game, and it doesn't. Well, obviously it doesn't matter who wins, but it was going to be played anyway. And if I recall correctly, the civ rules are different than you may have got used to. There's a reset in the middle, isn't there?
Yeah, we
I
didn't tell
believe.
them that. I just assumed they would know about it, but yeah, it was before previous game, so they could have played again the same civs, but I think they know about it anyway. And now, well, Migo definitely knows about it, right? He's going India, so he's already used that civ, so he's just selecting India and Bengal, which makes a lot of sense because it's an OTP map with some livestock and some nice wood treasures, and it's just good to be India on this map. The only sad thing about India and Bengal is that it's extremely hard to drop an Agra fort because of the swamps everywhere on the map, similar to Bayou. So that's one thing we have to keep in mind. And looks like SoldieR is counter-peaking with China.
China.
Interesting.
India may be favoured on non-TP maps compared to China. Although this map has quite a lot of livestock, which obviously is nice for both civs, maybe slightly better for China.
Better for China?
Maybe on I think it's better for China because they fatten quicker, don't they? On EP, it's nerfed.
I would say this matchup might be China favored on the TP map on EP, but on no TP, I think it's India favored because China needs a TP more than India does. And yeah, the livestock is one thing, I guess, but yeah, the fact like the livestock doesn't matter as much on EP, like you said, as on RE for China.
Yeah, which is 25%, isn't it, in Colonial Age and Discovery Age, so it doesn't fatten too quickly. But yeah, going in now into Bengal, which is obviously, as you said, a non-TP map. Maybe for India, there's only one place they can place the Agra Fort, and they sort of have to be aggressive in this matchup, don't they?
Um, I'm not 100% sure. Some people just want to go H3 in this matchup. Some people want to go Skirm, Gorka, Dembarak. Some just go for some aggressive Sepoy stuff. So I don't know. We'll have to see how Migo wants to play it. And some put donating another $1. Japan, I lame, lag is to blame. Yumi's do pop, breeze, I drop Italian tan. Shit, says ESOC ban. Okay, that's a bunch of nonsense, but thanks for the donation.
So
And
yeah, India setting off for a nice start here, 20 coin. Obviously, they've got 2 explorers, which makes picking up smaller treasures nicer. And a 50 wood found as well, which is really nice for India.
indeed, yeah, that's pretty good. And thanks for subscribing, Comet K. The only goal of subscribing being to try to break my eardrums. So thanks a lot for
I think
that.
he's changed, hasn't he? He's turned it down.
Yeah, it's better now. It's definitely better.
Yeah. He used to be awful. There's another 50 wood here, which I think is good for both civs, definitely.
Yeah.
Even maybe better for China early game, actually. Because obviously China have a bit of a problem keeping up the food intake, because they have to get 2 villagers up before they send their card.
Yeah. The wood is definitely nice for the boss of these players. And I feel like China will be able to get it just because his explorer is strong. I mean, it's stronger than the elephants. Elephants being pretty much the worst explorers in terms of fighting, and SoldieR doing a pretty good job at blocking with his disciple, and Migo finally able to pull his second elephant away, but extremely low HP. He can't get caught again. He has to be careful now. And it's also going to be hard to take treasures with that elephant.
Yeah, you have to be careful as India, because your explorers in Age 1 are so weak compared to every other explorer. They only do 2 damage, which is pretty useless.
Yeah.
But obviously, later in the game, they are better because they're sort of like the SoE explorer, aren't they? They're cavalry, so they're faster, and they can also they do a nice area damage. But 50 wood coming from SoldieR.
Indeed, yeah. And I don't know if we mentioned that, but India also went for a market, which is not very standard. So I assume it was a gold start, and he just bought 100 wood with that market and got the first food upgrade, which is quite nice. Not really as nice as hunting dogs for a European civ, but still nice. Obviously, you don't really want a coin start as India though against China, because China gets always the same crate. So you would like your start to be a wood start so that you get the extra wood, and China just has the same anyway. So that coin start is pretty good for China here. Migo getting
50 wood, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the third 50 wood already. That was a lot of 50 wood spawning on this map.
Yeah, so it's 2 for India, 1 for China. So maybe India's going to go up for 1 less villager. Obviously, you've got the elephants on this map, which are particularly, I think, bad. I think most players don't really like them, but that's a different matter. China, I think, getting more water buffaloes, 3-2, which isn't a huge difference, but nice nonetheless.
Yeah, it's still nice, but it's not a huge difference indeed. So the only big treasure left on this map is the 100 food. It's actually the only big relevant treasure. Usually you get a 90 wood as well, but instead we had 350 wood, so can't really complain. There's also an 80 coin, but it's not super impactful at this point. Might be nice later on though.
Carney Martyr coming down for India, for Amigo, which is probably because this map in particular, especially with China, because you have to remember China's got two different units they can use to block.
Right.
The only place you can put the aggro down, which is actually useful, is right here. But that's quite easy to block, and I think you can put it down here as well. But obviously, that's further away, and you might not want to put it there.
Yeah, exactly. You can have it in either of these locations. And yeah, it would be easy for China to block. He might have been able to do it, but I guess he decided that it was a little bit too risky and just go for the safe option, the Kanimata, which is anyway, it's not bad. It's just not exactly the meta, but I'm not sure Kanimata is really inferior to Agrafort in many cases. That elephant is on the edge of dying. Really, he has to be extremely careful with that. No, why?
He's got, he's got
I
to lose the one over here, I think, as well. So he's got to lose both and give China what, about a third of a shipment, which is quite nice. Is that Carney going to get hunts over there? I don't actually know. I don't know how big the radius is on it.
I think it's rather big. We'll see in a second anyway, but maybe yeah, maybe not the greatest. Maybe here would have been a better spot to drop
Yeah,
the Connie just because there's a hunt on the left and a hunt in the back, and
and the mine is yeah.
kind of. I guess he does reach the second mine. Maybe that's why he wanted to do that, and it might also affect this hunt if it can be herded a bit closer. But yeah, the wheels in the back of the Indian base are not affected by the corner radius right now.
No.
He might want to chop wood here actually, just to get the bonus in.
Yeah, it's just sort of closer move. You might. I don't know if it's worth it with villager seconds from walking. Though. I don't know. But a consulate going down in base, so that's going to be Ottoman consulate getting the 4 settlers in and getting a huge line of sight.
Yeah, and most importantly, the villages, because I'd assume that's. I mean, if you go Carney in base and you don't even have a military building, you spend your wood on the consulate. You're gonna get the wheels, right? You're gonna get the 4 wheels from the Ottoman, and but first he's getting the wood trickle, and then he will go for the wheels. And he doesn't have that many water buffaloes, but still 2 of them, so it's gonna help him a little bit towards his next shipment because these guys um, produce some experience for India instead of like being eatable,
Yeah.
edible, whatever. Yeah.
I think it's about 8 for a trading post, or is it 4 for a trading post? I forget, but it's a decent amount of experience. China's going up with the academy, so you might have been expecting Migo to be a bit more aggressive here, but obviously the tower is what you want to go up with if it's a bit.
Actually, I think he wants to be aggressive. That's why. I don't think he expected. Like, look, he's sending a villager because he wants to pop the 8 skirms directly forward, which makes sense, I think, against a Connie Mata, because he definitely knows what's going on, right? He's been scouting the entire time with Explorer. He's seen the Agra, he's seen the Consulate, and probably even the Ottoman alliance. And he also has seen that there is apparently no military building. So he just feels comfortable sending a villager over here to build a village and then just ship the skirmishers in there. And maybe, I guess we will not see a 9 pikes. So usually you see 9 pikes as well in H2 so that you get 9 pikes plus the skirms. But without a trading post, it's not gonna be possible as China.
Yeah, so Migo at the same time is going up. I don't know when to go up with it. I don't think you'll go up with the Agra Fort because it's only 5. It's basically a barracks with 5 Gurkhas in the next age, I believe. So what's he going at? Terra Victor. A Charminar Gate. So that's the Mahout.
Yeah, and you can train Menzaptars, right? So
Yeah, he won't be doing that right now, though. I think it's more that you get a Mahout up, and Mahout obviously against these skirmishers works really quite well. But yeah, China going for a more aggressive push in India. India's got a decent amount on the wonder, I think 6. So he's going to go up fast. He does have the Minutemen as well, you have to remember. So he can get basically 3 sets of Minutemen.
or the Hussars, yeah, either of these. So meanwhile, he's just stacking the export and just he's got like the flexibility to call Minutemen or get the Hussars when he has 400, so it's quite nice. And poking a little bit, idling. TC Fire though is pretty good against these Chinese skirms because they die in 2 shots, which usually a European skirm dies in 3 shots from TC Fire when it's a veteran skirm. So, you know, like killing them in only 2 shots is definitely nice. It's more efficient. And
he gets caught out here by the Mahout from the age up. he might not fare quite well. He's only got 3 Changdao and a couple of Quang Pikemen
There will be a
here.
shipment though in any second now. There will be something popping. So I don't think the Mahout will be scary because there will be like 5 metal hammers popping now.
He's so close to the TC though. It's going to
Yeah.
pop right now. Look, is he going to? You also have to remember the Mahout. There you go, Minutemen Mahout coming out. This Mahout has such terrible pathing now, so he's just getting stuck on the other units.
Yeah,
And
but
there's 5 Meteor Hammers coming out as well.
right, and the meteors are gonna tear through that Mahout. Like, I don't think Migo wants to commit. Actually, I'm not sure. I like Migo trying to take this fight. Like, the Mahout is just gonna die, and
It is on the skirmishes, so it might get a few. No, we only got 1. So he does at least have the sentries coming out against the China's cav. So
I guess
he's going to hold, I believe.
most of the meteors are dying. I think Migo did a good job at microing this because he focused like the meteors quite quickly. And at the end of the day, well, China is ahead in military, but India didn't get to ship units yet, so he can still like ship 8 Gorkas and be alright.
Yeah, 8 Gorkas or even if he sends Arumi here would be really nice because these Chang Daos obviously are weak to him and skirmishes don't particularly beat them out. There's the 8 Gorkas as you were saying.
I just like the Gorkas because the Urumis you can just go back. They are not that much faster. Without ceasefire, you can't really get the Urumis on top of this skirm. So what I like with the Gorkas is that China has shipped the meteors. Like it's obvious to Migo now that China went for 5 metal hammers first card, so he can feel comfortable shipping the Gorkas, and he knows it's not gonna get caught by the meteors. And dropping a small wall here. I mean, all in all, it feels like a good situation for India, doesn't it? I mean, he's got the Carney, he's got the Menzapta for later on, and he was able to hold without losing a single Vil, I believe. Yeah, he hasn't lost any Vil, so this is a close game, but I feel like India being able to defend that push is in quite a good spot now.
Yeah, he's going on berries though, which is obviously India's got a slight eco advantage when you account for the wonders that China has and the berries for India. It's probably about equal actually.
Yeah, then again, the berries aren't too bad just because there's a Carney and he's got the is it civil servants or how is it called again?
Imperial bureaucracy.
Oh yeah, right. The second one is imperial bureaucracy, and that does affect the berries. So he's got basically plus 25% on these berries right now, which is not.
Actually, yeah, it is 25%.
Yeah, so it's not that bad, right? And there's no walking time either when you're on berries, so it's really decent. He should still obviously get this hunt in. Like it's still better than berries, of course. But just saying, it's not too bad for India.
He's getting the hunt at the top in, which is also quite nice. It's like India's penned in, but they've got ample resources. They've got a mine going still, and you have to remember India doesn't need as much resources as other civs, simply because their villagers don't cost any resources that run out. Wood is quite plentiful.
Yeah, right. And they even get the 2 trickles, which basically create wood out of nowhere. So you don't even need that many trees, right? Now though, China going in, and the veterancy just came in for Gorkas, but the Zemburaks are not upgraded yet. Although there is a Menzapda Gorka. Yeah. That choke is great though. That choke is really great for India, I think. And the Cav are having trouble connecting, but still looking rather good for China here. Just nothing to really block.
No, from China at the back here, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
And Village is sort of tanking here, which is nice for India, really.
Yeah, but meanwhile, he's also losing a couple of vils. So now the eco is evened up in terms of villages, at least. I mean, including the wood trickles. Because India also never got the 4 vils. He didn't ship the 300 export, so he doesn't have the greatest eco. And yeah, all of a sudden it looks pretty good for China here. And Migo kind of needed maybe less Gorkas and more Zemburaks, or at least a veteran Zemburak upgrade. Because you really don't want to go too heavy on skirms against China. And a raid, yeah.
There's going to be a raid down there. I didn't get any from it. Sorry for interrupting you, but and
Yeah.
his war's gone down. And I don't know about building wars. The market's going down, switching to British consulate, obviously. And this flying crow sort of limiting any resources just in front of it, really, and taking down all these houses. Which India, they're not really starved for population space at the moment, but they're not overly joyous. Only 4 population space as a whole.
Uh, yeah, and
Mahat's coming out.
I
Two
guess
Mahats coming out.
that gate looks scary. Like the Mahout can go through the gate. Just why is he not? Now he's trying to connect to the skirms, but and sending the vills on top of the crowd, so he's gonna get it down for sure, but gonna lose some vills as a trade. But he's also
He's gonna
losing
lose.
a whole Mahout here and almost a second one. And I just think China has won that game, really. I don't think India will ever remass enough to match this Chinese army.
And what did those Mahats really do? It didn't really do anything in my mind. Then
No.
the differential between the eco population, he did get the crow down, and he can obviously fight quite well against the heavy infantry. But China now going in with repelling volley, which these Zambarax are so weak versus the arquebusiers, but India can't really push at all.
Yeah, India's lost its game unless China already makes a huge mistake. But he's like really behind in eco now because lots of his vills have been killed trying to get that crowd down. I mean, they did achieve that. They did get the crowd down, but he's lost 14 vills in total, 15 now. And the Army is
Where's the
finally
Ruby
coming
coming
in,
out?
but he kind of needed to get the Aramis while he still had the house alive so that he could snare the infantry, because now the Aramis are nice, but I don't think they will clean up that mass of infantry.
Yeah, there's not much backing him up, and this is sort of a big push from India, and he doesn't really have anything from it. The heavy infantry going down quite nicely, but then look, there's 11 Changdao coming out, so he can't really get on anything.
Right. And again, India is back to almost no military and still behind in eco and has no map control whatsoever. And there will be another flying crow coming in soon, so he will have again to find a way to deal with that crow. And that is just, it's just really, it's actually crossing the map now. And it's just probably GG already. Also, that second coin mine is a bit exposed. So, yeah.
Yeah, so India's sort of penned in here, has a smaller economy and a smaller military. I think this is, as you said, it's just over, isn't it? Unless China somehow blunders massively, but India's big shipments are gone. They do still have 3 Mahout Lancers, which might be quite nice in this situation. But other than that, he sent the Zambarax as the ZZ coming out. I guess, yeah, GG coming out.
Yeah, that's the end of the game. GG and the end of the series as well. So it's gonna be 3-2 for SoldieR. So 3-2 for Team Mandrake Duck Squad. And yeah, he like as his name can suggest, India bot means India. So kind of disappointed that he lost pretty hard boss games actually as India.
Yeah, Migo getting outshined by Duck Squad coming in from SoldieR. But again, you have to remember that both teams got either 2 or 3 points, so it's not too bad.
Right.
It's like getting a draw. Isn't it basically a draw, isn't it, at this point? It's a 1 point up for Duck Squad. But
Right. It's not a huge difference, and yeah, it's not too bad, right? It's pretty close either way, but definitely a small advantage for Team Mandrake Duck Squad, right? They get the extra point and also the symbolic win. Even though it's a
you get
playoff of
momentum, don't
5,
you?
they did win the series. So yeah, well played by SoldieR and Migo, but SoldieR a little bit better, obviously, since he's won. And we can have a
But
yeah.
it's sort of to be expected, wasn't it? SoldieR may be seen as a slightly better player than Migo. But yeah, well played both.
Yeah, SoldieR could be seen as the top dog of the series, but it's really quite close between these two players. So having a quick look at the graphs, so we can see just yeah, that first trade wasn't too great for India. Like when he went with the Mahout and the Minutemen, I was like, he just aged. He didn't get any benefit from aging. The only thing he's got from aging up at this point as India at 9 minutes was just a Mahout, which isn't too much. It's like 3 hustles kind of. So I'm not sure he should have called the Minutemen and tried to take a fight. Maybe just sit back, get the unit shipment, and then keep your Mahout alive and call your Minutemen when you need them. Because he sort of wasted his stuff. And then from that point, India was never really ahead in military. He's got there was a point where he was okay, but yeah, then China just outmassed. Like he just shipped units and outmassed. And also, India never getting the Zembarak veterancy is a little bit disappointing. Like at 16 minutes in the game, still having H2 Zembaraks was a little bit sad for India.
Yeah, especially when you have to keep in mind that China had repelling volley for quite a proportion of the game, really. Yeah, propelling volley versus uncarded and still just colonial Zambrax it's like a knife through butter. It's not really a fair fight in the slightest.
Yeah, I mean, wait, it's like they're also EP Zembaraks, which have only 20% range resist. So I wonder how many shots you need, but it's like 18 times 3, it's 54. You remove 20%, so it's like 45 or 44. You need like 3 shots, maybe 4, from a Chinese skirm to kill Zembarak at this point. So with an insane micro, you could see like Zembaraks dropping 5 by 5 or something like that at this point.
Yeah, and then you have to remember Gurkha they're not the strongest skirms. They're pretty good skirms, but obviously they can't outrange the Chinese skirms, and China just has more at the end of the day.
They get a little bit outranged. In H3 it's okay. It's only one range, which isn't too big. And the Gorkhas are arguably stronger, but not after repelling volley, yeah. And the thing was just that China had too many units here. So and got a really nice trade with the Cav when he went in with his Cav, and India was desperately trying to hit and run. He didn't really get the best trade. So yeah. Anyway, that's the end of the series. I believe there is nothing else coming in.
No, there's a game tomorrow, I believe, at 3 o'clock UK time, so that's 2 o'clock GMT. It's I Am Turk versus Sompukonku, which is a game which is probably a one to watch, really, even if it is slightly early.
So that's tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. I don't know who's casting that. I have no clue.
I'm not sure. But there's also my series later against Lucas, actually, at like, I don't remember which time.
But no, that's at least on the calendar, that's the only one which is tomorrow.
And yeah, never mind. Yeah, no, never mind me. That's Wednesday. Yeah, tomorrow is Tuesday. So Tuesday, yeah, we'll have Turk against Sampu, you said.
Yeah. And then Lucas versus yourself, which I somehow have a bet on. If you lose one game, I win $5, of which I'm just going to donate to ESOC anyway.
If I lose a game.
Yeah, and I'm sort of hedging my bets on Lucas beating you, China, if I'm honest.
So you're basically you're betting against me. Is this what you're saying?
Yeah. I'm playing the odds.
That's not okay. I don't want to cast with you anymore.
I don't think you'll win
5-0. Honestly, I wouldn't bet on myself going 5-0. So yeah.
Well, Lucas, at least from what he played at the LAN, he beat quite a lot of players. So
well, I mean, Lucas
at the LAN as well.
He's a good player, and I wouldn't pretend. I mean, I wouldn't claim I'm gonna go 5-0 against a good player. So yeah. Anyway, right. So that's it for us. Thanks for watching, guys, and thanks a lot for the donations. We had lots of donations. 3 times $50. No, twice actually. $50 from Maito and $50 from Head Killer, and a bunch of smaller donations. So thanks a lot to everyone who donated. Thanks a lot to everyone who tuned in to watch this. And sorry for the small technical difficulties we had earlier. And yes, that's gonna be it for us. Thanks for co-casting as well, Riot.
No worries. It's fun doing it. It's really fun, even if I was on a mobile connection the whole time.
Yeah, I think it got better, right? When I also fixed
Yeah.
my stuff, then your voice was fine, so I think it was okay. All
Yeah.
right then. See you guys.